Hi, I hope you've been keeping up to date with my vlogs. Today I'm going to make focaccia. Focaccia is one of my favourite breads. I've made it at GCSE level and haven't made it for several years, and I'm going to make it again now. So let's start off. I'm going to sieve the flour into a bowl. Some people just chuck it in, but I prefer to sieve it. Don't tend to get any lumps then. So I'm putting in 500 grams of strong white flour, otherwise known as bread flour. So do that without getting it everywhere. I now have my flour. I'm going to put a little bit of salt. Now I'm going to get 2 dried packets of yeast. So now I have my 500 grams of flour and 2 packets of yeast. I'm now going to put a little bit of olive oil in here. Just a splash. And now I'm going to gently add in my water. It's good to use your hands in this process, but you can also use a wooden spoon. I'm just going to take it around the outside. I've only got more oil in here at the moment. A little bit of water. That's 300 millilitres of water that goes in total. We're after some dough, so don't be afraid to get involved. It's a very hands-on experience. As you can see here, a lot of the dough is now quite stodgy, so this might be the point to get your hands involved. Scrape up the dough from my spoon, place it on the side. There's still quite a bit of flour that's not wet, so I'm going to add a little bit more of my water. Really get my hands in there. If you feel like the dough is too wet, you can always sprinkle a little bit more flour in there. See, this is quite wet now. Keep folding it over and making sure you've got all the mixture. I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to put a little bit of flour in there. So our next step, that is our dough so far, is that we're going to knead it on the counter. So make sure your counter is clean. Avoid touching everything. Just spread out that flour and place your dough on the surface. Try not to get too much flour on it, because it's that sticky texture that we're after. Just folding it over and over, using your knuckles. It's as if you're beating it. And if you think it's getting too dry, you can always add a little bit more water, only a little bit, and some oil with that. That's what I'm going to do now. Splash of oil. I'm going to tap that with some water. So you can see this, very stretchy. This is quite sticky now, this is how we like it. So just place it there, coat your hand, I'm messing this up, a little bit of flour, just protects your hands a little bit from getting all slimy and sticky. So you want to try and keep the mixture in there, and then really go for it. You'll be doing this for about 5 to 10 minutes. It's just activating all the yeast inside. The technique I use is that when it's a good consistency, roll it so it almost looks like a croissant, a rather big croissant. You're doing that, you've got these two sides. You fold them in, grab them, and then knead again. You should always change in the sides that you're kneading, constantly rubbing it and activating the yeast. So now we are ready to put this in a bowl, put some cling film over it and let it rise. So before that, make sure you roll it into a ball. It helps it expand, tucking all the sides in, like so. That's our ball. Place our dough in there. And when you put the cling film on, make sure you drizzle a little bit of oil on there so it doesn't condensate. It also moistens up the bread and the dough. So do this by turning over your foil, putting some on. There we go. That is now ready to rise and leave it until it's doubled. This should take around an hour. After that, we'll go into the next stage. Hi, so I've left the bread rise. I've left it to rise for about an hour and 15 minutes, and it's meant to double, so it started off about this sort of size, and it's definitely more than doubled, so I'm going to take it all off. So yeah, I've taken all of the cling film off, and as you can see, it's rised a lot. So what we're going to do now is we're going to knead it again and leave it to rise a little bit more. And when we're going to let it rise a little bit more, we can leave it in the tin or tray that we're going to bake it in. So we need to spread a little bit of oil, a little bit on the surface, with a little bit of bread. So now we're going to knead it. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to separate some of the dough because I'm going to see how much I can get out of it. So here are my 2 bits. I'm now going to start putting in dishes. Once again, you're going to spread a little bit of oil in here, just so it doesn't stick. I'm going to stretch this out so it fits the trays. Not too thin, but just remember it will rise once again. There's now 1 in a dish, and now the second. And for this one, what we're going to do is I'm baking it in a pasta dish because it has a few words at the bottom. It says done there. We're going to see if it falls onto the bread. That is now the second one. So I'm now going to leave these to rise, roughly about half an hour, maybe a little bit longer, and then I'm going to make them home for you. So I've now let them rise, and as you can see they're rather big. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to take off the cling film and prepare them for the herbs. Now it's at this point you need to preheat the oven. The best temperature is 220 degrees or gas mark 7. So now I want to try and minimise the touching on the focaccia bread. I'm going to put holes and then some herbs and a bit more oil in. At this point I'm going to be putting on a little bit of salt. This is sea salt, and then I've got some finer salt. I'm going to put some herbs and oil and then do the same to the second dish. So this is now the first one. As you can see, it's very flavoured and herbed. So now both breads are herbed up. Voila. So I'm now going to put them in the oven for about an hour to an hour and a half, and then see how they turn out.